So nice to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So I just want to let you guys know you're going to be staring at my picture as I'm talking. So and then I'll be doing some screen sharing in a little bit. But yeah, at least I'm really excited to be here and talk about some Etsy traffic and SEO and some really technical stuff that you guys are going to love.
Okay, great.
Lisa, could you introduce Tim and tell us a little bit about what he does?
Absolutely. Well, I'm actually going to, I've said Tim Adam, he's well known in the Etsy community. He's well known in the handmade world. He has a blog called handmadeology.com. And I'm going to actually throw that to Tim. I would love, Tim, for you to tell everybody, I feel like I'm talking to the Raptors. I would love for you to tell everybody how you got your start. You have a really interesting journey with Etsy and handmade business all together.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So, as Lisa said I am the owner of Handmadeology. Started about, oh man, it's been almost 6 years ago now. But let me tell you how I got started selling on Etsy. So, we'll backtrack to I went to school for environmental engineering, and then I was going to be a science teacher. And in 2005, my sister-in-law asked me to help her with some projects, and they were all metal, all like welding and things like that. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do any of that. And so I went through a welding course. I got certified as a MIG welder, and I started designing furniture, and I absolutely loved it. And I started selling like in galleries and art shows and craft shows and all that stuff. And then in 2007, one of my good friends told me about Etsy, and I got on there in February of 2007. Started selling clocks and jewelry trees and furniture, and through the Etsy community, through the forums and things, I just got advice from people, and they said, "Hey, you need to make some jewelry." And I was like, "What? There's no way." I said, "I'm a welder. I'm like, come on, I don't make jewelry." So, right. So I took all my, the rusty steel and the copper and like all that kind of stuff, and I started making jewelry, and totally out of my league, and it started selling, and it started selling well. And probably about a year after being on Etsy, I was able to quit my jobs. And I said jobs because I was working multiple jobs, but I was able to quit, and I was able to pursue Etsy full time. I had some really fun stories. Like I had a table that sold to Barney's, New York, which was, I don't know, I think it was 3 months after opening my shop. That was crazy. That didn't make me successful, but it was an awesome story and a big chunk of money for us, my wife and I, being newly married. But yeah, so amidst all of that, it was 2007, 2008. I started a blog, and I started blogging because my wife said, "Hey, you need to start a blog." And I was on the internet. I looked at funny videos on YouTube, and I had an email, and now I had this Etsy shop, and I'm like, going to start this blog, right? And so I did, and you can still find it today. I leave it up because it's pretty funny. Not funny, but it's funny to go back and look at things that you do. Like, now it's 6 years ago or whatever, but it's timothyadamdesigns.blogspot.com. So check it out. But that's why I started talking about my business. I started talking about my Etsy shop. I started talking about different ways to get exposure for your Etsy shop and things like that. I remember I did my first screen capture video. It was how to embed a Etsy mini. If you guys ever remember that, I don't even know if that's still around, but embed this Etsy mini on your blog, and people ate it up. It was awesome. So, but I started Handmadeology because I got an email from a lady, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to follow in your blog, and I lost my job at the bank, but following your tips and following your advice, I make more money selling my jewelry than I did at the bank, and I don't have to worry about it." And so I didn't even know who she was. I didn't even know she was following my blog. It's just someone, a reader, and it was just an amazing story to me. So that right there said, put a spark in my brain. I said, "Hey, I need to do this. I need to help people. I can help people. People are listening." So super excited. This is what I do. I haven't welded, and I haven't sold. I have not sold a metal piece on Etsy in over, I don't even know, maybe 3 years. But in 2010, I wrote a book called How to Make Money Using Etsy, and it was Wiley Publishing that came to me, and they said, "Hey, you want to write a book?" And I I actually don't like reading, and my wife thought it was crazy because I was like, "You're going to write a book?" But I did, and it turned out really well, and you can still buy it today. But I recommend I actually don't recommend buying my book now. Sounds silly, but it's so out of date. Like just go to Handmadeology and you'll find all the up-to-date stuff, and you'll find articles that Lisa wrote, tons of articles. I remember when I first launched Handmadeology, Lisa was one of the first writers that I ever had writing for Handmadeology. It was awesome, and so that's my story, guys. And if we want to talk a little bit more, Lisa, before I get into SEO, go for it.
Okay. As far as, would you mind sharing a little bit about how well Handmadeology is huge? Would you mind giving us some, like, an idea?
Sure, absolutely. So I'll just give you a little bit of a story. If you're thinking about starting a blog, this is what I did, and it was kind of crazy. It was kind of like really ambitious. But what I did for the first 365 days, my first year of my blog launch, I published 5 articles a day for an entire year. And of course, you know, like with people like Lisa and myself and like probably 12 other writers, we accomplished that. And we have over 5,000 articles on the blog, and we have everything from branding, the pricing, the marketing, and fun stuff too. We have how-tos. We feature artists, handmade artists all the time. We do interviews, all those kind of things. So there's a lot of things for a lot of people, and that's why we've grown. And so our social media reach has grown, super awesome. Love it. And we have like I think we're hitting 260,000 fans on Facebook this week. Twitter and Pinterest. It was funny because my wife always, it's a joke, I was on Pinterest before she even knew what it was. And so, you know, follow Handmadeology on Pinterest and Instagram and all those places. But yeah, guys, we have tons of content, and we have tons of courses and things that you can buy too. So check us out, find us right on Facebook, and you'll see what's going on. So yeah.
Okay, and two more things before you go. So sure. One of the things we're focusing on here, one of the things we're talking about a lot is the long-term strategy, that this is, something that you invest time in. And I think you're a testament to that as well, because this is not an overnight thing. You're talking since 2008, a lot of trial and error going on, a lot of different places. So would you attest to that it takes time and investment?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I teach and talk about like every single day to people is consistency. And I think like you can apply that to your Etsy shop, you can apply that to social media, you can apply it to anything you're doing, but being consistent, but like over time, a long time. All right. So like when you first start your Etsy shop and you're like, hey, nobody's even looking at this stuff, nobody's buying it, keep listing, keep getting your things in there. You're passionate about it and you love it. But I think like, that's in your Etsy shop. Then even on social media, it's like being consistent on a daily basis and posting and getting that content out there. And then also too, like just learning, like growing as a business person. I always talk about photography, like, and we always say this, but it's like, if your pictures stink, you're not going to sell anything. I mean, you might have the best descriptions, you might have the best product ever, but if your pictures are bad, you're not going to sell anything. So even just like getting better at your product photography, like on a daily basis, and being consistent with it and growing is huge. And yeah, I mean, if you look back at the things that I sold in 2007, I mean, hey, the pictures were terrible, but I was taking pictures with like a 2.2 megapixel camera, right? And but yeah, consistency, and it takes a lot of work, you guys. This is a business, and I'm sure Lisa has talked about it and how much you have to invest in this, because this is a business. And if you want to treat it like a business, then you're gonna succeed. And yeah, so.
Yeah, that really helps me out, because I think what I've been saying is you want the same message, you want it to be a strong message, and you want to say it. And let me just ask you this question: was there ever a time where you felt like you were talking to yourself, where you were putting it out there and nobody was connecting with it?
Absolutely. I mean, there was seasons of that, because just launching products on Etsy and then not getting any sales and not really know what's going to happen. But then when social media started, I mean, hey, we all start our fan pages, we all start our blogs, we all start whatever with zero. And at zero, hey, you feel like nobody's listening, but I think the consistency is so important. And yeah, absolutely. So there's always listening.
So weathering the slow seasons is one of the hardest parts of the job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you don't think that you're going to make a sale, or enough sales to pay the bills or whatever it is. I mean, if you're passionate about it, you're going to push through that. And